Welcome everybody, I'm Joshino, and today we're going to be talking about Imani, the new damage champion coming to Paladins later on this year in the public test server, likely mid-December, and out next year in January. And today I've got some exclusive footage that was shown off in a dev panel, which is very work in progress, so take that into account, and also filmed by me of the presentation, so it's a little bit shaky too, so sorry for that folks, alongside some of the reveal stuff that's been shown off. But basically the devs explained each of Imani's abilities, and well, I'm going to go through them today and what they've said about her lore and things like that, and just explaining her in more detail. As always, be sure to let me know what you think about Imani, the new champion, coming in the comment section below. And anyway, let's just jump in with the lore. So Imani is the last of the warders, and after Dredge stole the Dragon's Call Gauntlet, went to reclaim them and took them from Dredge, Imani was already able to control fire and ice magic, as she was trained as one of the warders from a very young age. However, the gauntlets amplify the magic and also give her the ability to call and command dragons. The dragon Imani can command is currently an unnamed dragon, and I'm currently running a competition on Twitter at Joshino YT, both capital letters, to name him for a hi-rez digital loot pack or the Cold Snap Furia, so go over there and check that out if you want to have a go yourself. There have been some good ones so far, and be sure to let us know below. They also confirm that this dragon is not the dragon that killed Dredge. This is a lesser dragon, as the dragon that killed Dredge was sort of the matriarch, the leader of the dragon race. Anyway, moving on to the abilities. Imani has a unique identity as a warder, as a sort of mage, and can change between two stances of the classic mages, fire and ice. Ice is a default stance, and the main attack on both works a bit like a Shaolin arrow. You charge up your attack, your magical power, and then release it. The longer you hold, the higher the damage up until you are fully charged. There is, however, no drop, like Shaolin, and the projectile always moves at the same speed. The Frostbolt does damage less than the Fireball, which is the fire on the fire mode. However, these charge quicker and also slow enemies by 10%. The devs have stated that they were not planning to add any cards that make this a higher amount, so it's always going to be base around 10%. So nothing more frustrating, so no May coming to Paladins basically, quite yet anyway. With both of these attacks, the fire is more basic, it just does more damage. There is a mana bar. Each shot will charge up the mana bar, and when you are fully charged, you can fire a shot without charging it at full power, just increasing your damage output basically, and may have some interesting meta in controlling it, a bit like the Zin third shot. There are also 3 animations with the hands from the spells, and it sort of shows how you charge the magic, so the hands move around as you charge up the magic. There's actually 3 unique ones for each of the stances, which is pretty cool. So moving on to the alternate attacks for both of them. The ice alternate attack fires a ball of ice that goes up into the air and then drops in sort of an arc. You are locked out of all your abilities whilst this is going up in the air until either you detonate it mid-air, making it explode, or if it hits an enemy player or environmental object, which also will explode. This explosion does a root to all enemies hit and is quite a large area of effect, which I think is rather crazy and going to be one of the big abilities there. The fire alternate ability is Inferno Cannon. It's a beam that pierces enemies with fire magic. While she uses this ability, she's locked out and will start sliding slightly across the ground or wherever they are. And if you jump or are in the air, you will float kind of along like the Androxus glide in Netherstep, so you can bombard enemies aerially if you are higher up and basically glide across the map. Moving on to her escape or movement ability, she makes her own surfboard and propellant and the waves to ride. So with one hand, she creates an ice surfboard, then a surface to ride on, whilst propelling herself with fire as a propellant, like a kind of rocket, I guess. It does have less mobility to turn than, say, Eevee's Saw, and this is by the fact that you trigger it, and every time that you turn, you go slower. So you go fastest if you travel in a straight line, and it doesn't go quite up to the full max. You just can go up a little bit, rather than like Eevee, you can go straight vertically wherever you want. You have to sort of slightly go upwards. But if you turn, you slow down a lot, basically, which is a sort of downside to the ability and makes it not as crazy as a flanks escape. There is also a combo to surf with this and then use the Inferno Cannon, so you can use the beam to fire it down onto enemies from the air. Pretty crazy stuff. Finally, the big bada-boom, the ultimate. You summon the unnamed dragon, and unfortunately they didn't have any working footage of the dragon currently. Apparently there's an issue with the camera clipping a little bit. The summon takes about a second and a half, and once summoned this dragon, you take control of it and will be able to fly. A bit like Willow's ultimate, and whilst you're flying you can breathe a fire and ice breath upon enemies on the ground, with a huge health pool of 7,500 currently in the game. The developer said it will last around 25 seconds at the moment, and whilst you are in it, Imani is locked in place, unable to move, so is very vulnerable, and until either Imani dies, which both the dragon and her will die, or the dragon dies and she'll go back to her character, or it runs out of time at that sort of 25 seconds, they said, around that currently, so quite a long time. One thing a lot of people have been wondering is how it would fit anywhere, as it's massive. Well, the devs have said that its wings do clip through walls and obstacles, and will basically fit anywhere that a mount can fit, so it isn't going to get stuck in a zone or anything like that. So that's all of the abilities explained. There's some other things that they talked about. So Imani and the dragon will get skins together, themed both the same way. The devs were heavily hinting at a cyberpunk sort of skin with a robotic or mecha dragon, so it would be rather cool. We'd be more of a technomancer than a mage. Also, Imani is set to be closer to the tied to the paladins and sort of against the abyss and also the magistrate. They hinted more heavily towards the paladin side, although not completely part of the clan, or the resistance at least. Also, they talked about Bulldozer will likely work on the dragon to take it down faster, but also things like percentage attacks and stuff will also damage it quite heavily. Finally, just some thoughts on Imani. Imani is definitely going to be a strong character. Her limit is sort of that she's locked out a lot in the big hitting abilities and attacks, so is quite vulnerable and is immobile in a lot of these situations. However, the size of her root and the power of a beam alongside the crazy dragon ultimate seems like she'll definitely come out extremely strong. Again, be sure to let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section below and what you think of Imani. I think it is rather awesome. I love the design of her, and the abilities sound like they're going to be fun. Whether or not she'll be balancing when she comes out, sure. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more of my content, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, folks. Joshino.